we've been a blast school for a year, and it's absolutely changed everything that we do. We use it on an everyday basis. It's great for our kids, just like Coach Gadsky said, when it comes to tracking the number of swings that we get, but then also it's changed the way that I teach our athletes. It's nice to be able to have data to back up some of the things that we say and them to have evidence that they're actually getting better. Okay, so rotational acceleration, I'm going to go through what it is, why it's important, and then how to affect it, like drills that you can do to affect the particular, to affect rotational acceleration, and then also just a couple clips on a kid and just seeing her progression and how it's affected her and her swing. Okay, so what is rotational acceleration? Rotational acceleration measures how quickly the barrel accelerates through the swing plane, okay? So for me, the word rotational acceleration is a lot to say. Basically, rotational acceleration is just an indicator of how well your swing is sequenced. Basically, it's measuring how efficient your body moves within a swing, okay? The better your sequence is, the better your rotational acceleration will be. And so that's basically what we talk about. So if you have a kid that has a really high rotational acceleration number, it means that their swing sequence is pretty good, okay? Everything that we do has a sequence. Every intricate movement. When we run, our running has a sequence, okay? If I ever see a kid run like this, they're not coming to Arkansas, okay? Because that's not how you run. That's not how you do it, okay? But everything that we do has a sequence, right? Throwing has a sequence, okay? If I see a kid do this, they're not coming to Arkansas. It's bad sequence, right? It's the same thing with our swing, okay? Really good analogy that Blash used to kind of explain what rotational acceleration is the comparison of a Ferrari and a Honda. They usually say Tesla, but I like Ferraris better, so we're going to use that. So the comparison of a Ferrari and a Honda, both of those vehicles can go 65 miles an hour, okay? But one of them does it a little bit more efficiently, right? So a Ferrari will get there in like 3 seconds and a Honda like 12 seconds, right? So again, I mean, the Honda can do, the Ferrari can do a lot more things than a Honda can do besides just the speed thing, but it's just a more efficient car, and that's why you pay a lot of money for it, okay? All right, some of the benefits, okay? So again, rotational acceleration is the sequence, okay? Our sequence and the way that we talk about sequence is that it comes from the ground up, okay? Everything starts from the bottom, it goes all the way up through our body, and our arms are the last thing that go, okay? Us having great sequence in our swing, okay, again, everything coming from the ground up, pressure in our big toe, knee turning, hip turning, torso turns, shoulder turns, and our arms go, okay? That allows for us to make progress towards the pitch without commitment, okay? As soon as our arms get away from our body, we're committed, and there's nothing that you can do about it. Your arms go, it's over, okay? So you having great sequence and your arms being the last thing to go, it allows for you to swing all the way through, or say, no, I don't want to swing, okay? Again, the arms are the last thing to go. So it allows for you to make progress towards the pitch without commitment. Us getting our legs out of the way is what creates a really short path to contact, okay? If we don't do the sequence right and we don't turn our hips, we have two choices. We can do this, which is ugly and unathletic, okay, and forcing our hands towards the ball, or we can do this, which is really long and not great at our level, okay, when people are throwing it really hard, okay? So it allows for us to make a decision on the pitch a whole lot later if our sequence is really good. Allows for us to see the pitch longer. Hopefully us being able to see the pitch longer will allow for us to be able to identify and hopefully make a pretty good decision on the pitch. So again, our arms being the last thing to go really helps with that. Also helps us generate power and then build up bat speed, okay? When it comes to the power and bat speed, us creating resistance between our upper body and our lower body is again sequence, right? If everything's working the right way, my legs get out of the way, my upper body's hadn't gone anywhere yet, okay? And then my body turning is the thing that takes my barrel and my hands to the ball, okay? It's never us throwing our hands to the ball. It's our body rotating, our shoulder and our hands riding together, and then once we turn that corner, the momentum of our body turning is the thing that lets our hands go towards the ball, okay? So that's sequence. So I'm gonna show you guys a few examples of what good sequence looks like. Okay, this is one of our hitters that just graduated this year. All right, so you should be able to see kind of what I'm talking about sequence-wise. So we're here, back knee turns, back hip turns, shoulders turn, boom, crushes it, right? Her arms being the last thing to go is what allows for her to be able to make a good decision on the pitch, right? Okay. Next example is a Florida State hitter from postseason this year. Unbelievably smooth swing. Just destroys this ball. It looks so simple too. She doesn't really look like she's even doing anything, all right? Again, great sequence. The arms are the last thing that goes. Okay, so front view. Side view again. Strides out, knee opens, front hip opens, okay? Shoulder turns, barrel gets through it, okay? My favorite big leaguer is Josh Donaldson because he's super swaggy, but he also understands the swing, and I love the way that he talks about it. Here's a side view of what he does, okay? Front hip opens. There's that resistance that we're talking about between our upper body and our lower body. That position right there is what's going to drag his back shoulder through contact. Again, gets him in a position where he can hit behind the ball. If your hitter's having a really tough time getting behind the ball, it's usually because they're not moving their hips out of the way, okay? Because the only way that you can do that is by getting this out of the way so that you can get the back half of it. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to do that, okay? Another good Donald. This is probably my most favorite clip of all the clips that I have. Okay, it's a really good visual of what it looks like to get separation, good sequence. Again, so our front hip opens, every upper body stays back. Resistance there, boom, destroys this ball. Bah. Okay. All right. So that's good sequence. That's what it looks like. Okay, bad sequence. I think that you learn the most by seeing like something good, but spending some time looking at what it's not supposed to look like, right? So I wanted to give you guys some examples of some bad sequence things. If you guys know any of these hitters, don't tell them that I did this. Okay, this is. I've been waiting to use this clip. This is from like 6 or 7 years ago, okay? So you can just see how her hands are working in front of her body. She ended up figuring it out. She's got a lot of stuff on her, okay? So, but again, in opposition to what you just saw, you see how her hands are working in front, hips not turning, okay? Hips are kind of sliding sideways. Not good, okay? Here's another example. This kid's a little bit better than the one before when it comes to like using her legs. She does a decent job like just moving her legs in the right way. So just watch her lower body right now. That's not bad, okay? She doesn't really stride out very much. She's not really using it for a lot of power, but it's in general moving the right way. But watch her upper body, okay? Sometimes whenever you're working with your hitters, you'll see that they're kind of getting jammed up. It's like, use your legs more, use your legs more. And sometimes that's not the case. That's one thing I learned with our hitters this year is that we were doing a great job using our legs. The problem was that our hands were overactive. Okay, so you can have great legs, but if your hands are just going to do that too, it doesn't make any difference. It doesn't help you, right? So you kind of have to watch to make sure, like you can encourage your kids, your legs are good, but you just got to let your hands kind of stay back a little bit more. Okay. One more example. This is a really extreme example of not getting yourself turned and having good sequence. Oh no, he got fooled, really bad. Super bad, got fooled. Okay? All right, but that's what, again, it looks like not to get yourself turned, okay? All right. So this is what you guys want to hear, okay? How do you affect it? What do you do to affect the swing, okay? I'm going to use a lot of clips from this kid here. Her name's Larry Cessna. She's from California. She wasn't able to play this past year because she got injured, has shoulder injuries. But we do a lot with resistance bands, and so we just get a harness that has hooks on both sides. And you can do this drill in a lot of different variations. You can do it with a single hit if you want. Your kids kind of like one more than the other. Like if they feel it better on their back hip, it's their back hip turning that way. If they feel it better on their front hip, you put the harness behind so that it pulls your back hip that way. Okay. So we do a lot of drills where we put the harness on and we'll just have them turn. So they're just here, not moving their knees. They're just here and just working on feeling of their hip, their front hip initiating and getting their swing started, okay? And you can do it with anything, like Larry's here doing it with dry cuts. She's injured in her upper body. But you can do it off the tee. You can do it off a front toss, live or machines, okay? All right, here's what it looks like. Here we go. All right, so here's a front view of it. Super simple, okay? Just open it up. And it's the resistance bands are like magic. The kids are there and they're not really having to do anything. The resistance bands are doing all the work for them. And so they really like it a lot. And most of them have never felt this feeling before, okay? All right, next drill, wall turns, okay? So I got this drill from Chaz Pippin of Baseball Rebellion. It's kind of the base of a lot of things that we do because I really feel like it really helps the kids feel their hips turning and it makes your hips go. And so getting and I can send any of you guys this if you want it, but getting the form right is the most important thing. It's like softball yoga. And so you're gonna stride out into basically warrior one, okay? You're gonna have your front toe pointing towards out there, knee over your front heel, heels lined up, back toe pointing towards the wall or whatever you're holding on to, and then your hips need to work against each other. Your kids, if they don't have great hip mobility, they'll have a problem with that. Their front hip will kind of pop out like this, and you want to have your belt buckle parallel to the wall, but they're going to struggle with this. And so then you're going to like, okay, you need to do this, and then their front knee is going to go in. Then you're going to do that, and it's going to do that. But you want to get it so that both those hips are working against each other, okay? Whenever you're up against the wall, you're going to put yourself in a position where you're not like so close that it's awkward, but you're not far away so much so it looks like you're getting arrested. Like it's a good, comfortable position. Don't get arrested. You're here, okay? So we're in this position, and from here, the wall is resisting your upper body, okay? So it helps you to not let this get out of the way and feel the tension that your upper body and your lower body is supposed to create. So you're here, and you just turn. Making sure that you close the gap with your legs. That's what you have to do to get your hips all the way cleared. You're holding on to the wall here. Make sense? I don't have a video of that one. Next drill, I don't remember where I got this from, but it's a really good one, okay? Get just a golf club, and you're basically gonna have your kid, it's a little bit better with a golf club because it has a little bit of a handle with the club head. And from here, it's kind of like the resistance band drill, where they're here, and they just open up their front hip. And having this helps them to be able to make the movement here, just like that, okay? Really small movement, but I think balls are distractions. As soon as you put a ball up to your kid, they're so busy trying to hit it that it's hard to work on stuff physically. And they're so super afraid of letting the ball get by them. So not having a ball and training them to move in a better way so that whenever the ball comes, it automatically happens, I think it's the best way to go, okay? Here's an example of that drill with Larry again, right here. All right. Not really doing a great job of it. The front knee shouldn't be moving like it is, okay? And our back shoulders kind of turn a little bit too much. Watch what happens when I just hold her. See the difference that makes, right? You just want to make all the movement happen within her front hip. Watch it one more time. Here, not really doing a good job with it. Just hold right there. Boom, look at the difference that makes, okay? Okay. Oopsies. Last drill is probably my favorite, and it's super duper simple. You don't need anything. It's just a mirror isolation drill where they're just working on seeing the sequence happen the right way. We do a lot of swing stuff where we're watching a lot of video of other kids and other hitters that are really good. We don't care. We'll watch Oklahoma State, right? Their hitters are good, then we're going to watch them and do our best to emulate them, especially the ones that are doing pretty good, okay? So in this drill, you're just in a mirror. You can be here facing the mirror or here, both ways. Just putting your hands together. It doesn't really matter what your hands do, but I like to do this because it, like, working on getting your hand flat is a good position for your hands to be in. But you're just in the mirror working on turning, getting the right first movement here, finish, and then go, okay? So I'll show you a video of Larry when she's doing a different drill. It's like a dumbbell drill, but you'll be able to kind of easily see why it's wrong, why it's not great, okay? So looks super robotronic. Oh gosh, look at that. Oh my goodness gracious. But looks like she's like doing the robot, right? It's like, looks really forcing her hands, not good, okay? So we worked super duper hard on this, okay? And this is what we got to. It took a while to get her to do it. It's the first time she did it. It was great. We had 20 minutes of doing that, and she finally got it. So again, that's a super duper simple drill, right? Of them feeling front hip open, back hip turn, resistance, boom. Thing that throws our hands is our front hip opening up and our body turning, okay? Okay, so Larry again is the one that we've shown a lot of video of. I want to kind of show you a little bit of her progress and how we kind of tracked it a little bit. So Larry got injured really early in the fall. This is data from her first month. So the numbers I want you guys to look at are the on-plane numbers, connection numbers, rotation, okay? So rotation's the main one, and rotational acceleration. So rotation, super duper low. These two are pretty good. The number that we're looking for the scores, which these three swing quality things are just kind of a cheater way to kind of see what some of the other metrics are doing. It's just a quick way to be able to kind of analyze where you are. Perfect. And so rotation's not great. This isn't a bad number. So major league average is 17 on rotational acceleration, okay? We range from our lowest kid that's like 6.8 on average, and then our highest kid is like 16.7, and she lives there, okay? The highest we've ever gotten is Larry, actually. She got a 28.9, okay? So she doesn't necessarily live there, but she has the ability to get it up there, okay? Again, major league average is 17, okay? So that's the first month with Larry. Next month, you can see the difference here. This is in the green now, okay? So this is a pretty big jump. This has obviously gone down a little bit, but it's a sacrifice we made to get her rotate a little bit better and got her rotational acceleration numbers up. And here's kind of the breakdown of what it looked like. Okay, we got 27 here. It's a huge jump rotation-wise. Jump here, again, that was down a little bit. That's down a little, okay? But with this also, I did a really poor job of, Larry's also a slapper, and so I didn't really do a good job of managing when she used her blast. I think in the future, because she's a majority hitter, I'm not going to let her have her blast on while she's slapping. It's just a choice that we're going to make, okay? But obviously you see a lot of results there with that kid, and it worked for us. So those are just 4 drills that we did, and it helped a lot. We do a lot of different stuff. I'm not really afraid of doing something stupid and it not working out and saying, nah, we're not doing that anymore. It's not a good idea. So I don't really limit myself in that way. But if you guys have any questions about anything we do or anything you saw up here, let it rip. Questions? Yes?
What was the time frame between?
So this is August to November. August to November. So that's a pretty big change. And again, we didn't have that kid for a lot of the time after, but now that we have these numbers, we can kind of see where she started, and when she gets back to swinging again, we have some measurables to kind of know where she is and how to progress her and how she is progressing. So again, so many reasons why blast has helped us. Again, in the training room and getting our kids back from injury is one of the biggest ones, so it's good. If you guys are too shy to ask questions now, I'll stay for like a half hour after if you guys have any questions or want to see anything or want some of these clips. Anything? Good? Perfect. Thank you very much.